Hey there! Today I am bringing you a very different video. I don't know if anyone's going to be interested in this type of a video, but I thought it would be worth making, just in case it does help at least one person out there. But today I kind of wanted to take, the time to kind of go over my weight loss journey thus far, because I think like most people, I have struggled with my weight my whole life, basically. And I have had a very long journey to get to where I am. And I wanted to kind of share that so you can learn a little bit more about me and also maybe put into perspective the current things that I'm doing, because I haven't always lost weight the way that I'm losing weight now, and I just want to make sure that that's reflected and I'm not giving the perception of only losing weight easy or anything like that. So if you have some time and are interested in kind of just listen to someone blabber about stuff, then I think this might be a good video for you. I know I lately have been looking for videos where people are kind of talking more and chatting more and just something to listen to kind of in the background or something you can really focus on. But I grew up in a large household, so I really need like noise constantly. So I know I've been looking for kind of longer videos, so I thought it might be a good time to put out my weight loss journey. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of give a brief description of kind of how I grew up and how it relates to food. So I've always had a really bad sweet tooth. When I was a kid, probably around 4, I had really, really curly hair, like ringlet curly hair. I'll put up a picture if I can find one, but I used to have crazy curly hair. And as a kid, I didn't want to brush my hair because the curls would get knotted and it would hurt. So what my dad thought would be a good idea to do to get me to brush my hair is he would say that he would take me to the store to get a candy every time I brushed my hair in the morning. So just for a little more context, I am the fourth born in 5 kids. So I am the second to the youngest. So I wasn't even the youngest. I don't know why this is something that my parents did for me in particular, because my other siblings, they have similar hair to me, but my hair was really, really curly. Anyways, what happened is I was a kid, loved candy. I brushed my hair in the morning, and every day I would go to the liquor store with my dad and pick out a candy bar. Eventually it got to a point as a kid where, you know, I would go to the store and I would pick out a couple things and be like, oh man, I really don't know which one to choose. And my dad's response to me was always, well, then we'll get both. So growing up with that kind of mentality towards food, particularly food that's not good for you, I grew up thinking it's a normal part of life to be eating candy whenever you want to eat candy. So when I got into teens, like 13, 14, I became very aware that my stomach didn't look like how it's portrayed in media, you know, having a flat stomach and being very thin. I was never a heavy kid. My mom always cooked home-cooked meals every day, and I was never overweight as a kid. But I have this condition with my back where my spine is curved, like very extreme, and it puts pressure on my lower back. But because my lower back is like kind of at this angle, what happens is my hips are kind of pushed forward, so the bottom of my belly kind of sticks out more. So I literally could never have a flat stomach because of the way my spine is curved to be like so extremely bent. So this part's like bent so far back and this part's essentially like pushed forward. So not knowing that as a kid or as a teenager, I grew up having a lot of body image issues because I didn't look the way I should look. I didn't look the way that other girls look, even my friends and things like that. So that was something I always didn't like about myself from probably the age of 13 on. So that kind of shaped the way that I viewed my body as well. So even as a teen, I started trying to figure out how I could lose weight because I thought that was going to be the remedy for why my stomach didn't look flat. So when I was probably 15, I looked up this diet. It was called the cabbage soup diet. It still exists now. And I remember making the cabbage soup at home and doing like the daily plan, but I really hate soup and I didn't eat the cabbage soup. So basically what I ended up doing was just each day eating what it had planned out for each day, which like it was something crazy. Like the first day you could eat the cabbage soup as much as you want and like one baked potato. So I would eat like that one baked potato and I wouldn't have the cabbage soup. And the second day was like, I don't know, you could have berries or something. I just remember one day it was like only bananas. You could have up to 5 bananas and as much of the cabbage soup as you wanted, but I didn't like the cabbage soup, so I only had bananas. It was a weird thing. And I saw that I lost water weight, so I thought I was losing weight. So I remember specifically when I first started doing that as a teenager, my mom told me, if you lose that weight, you're just going to gain it back. And I remember thinking in my head, like, I'm going to prove her wrong. I'm not going to gain it back because I thought she was being mean. But, she didn't really explain what she meant by that, which is that it's just water weight and it's not actually like body fat that you're losing. So I would do that kind of here and there whenever I was feeling extra heavy. And that I thought worked. But I never had a scale growing up, so I never weighed myself. I just know when I would go to the doctors and they'd weigh me, they'd always be like, oh, wow, like surprised how much I weighed. And one lady told me, like, I don't know if I weighed like 150 at the time as like a 16-year-old, and this lady weighed me at the doctor's office and she said, oh wow, 150, like I wouldn't have guessed that or something. So that kind of gave me the image of like maybe I shouldn't weigh what I weigh, and it just made a bad impression on me. And like as a kid, those kinds of things really stick in your head forever, really. But I always kind of got that reaction whenever I was weighed at doctor's offices. Like I didn't weigh what I was supposed to weigh. Although doctors never told me that I should lose weight or anything because I really wasn't an overweight kid or anything. I wouldn't say I was thin, but I wasn't overweight. I mean, I was in the same shape as my siblings. We didn't exercise or anything. We played softball during the summers, but other than that, we didn't really exercise in a formal sense. But we very rarely ate fast food. So that's kind of how my view was shaped from a teenager. That's kind of the background growing up as a kid, and kind of how I viewed food and how I also viewed my body and what it should look like versus what it did look like. So then I'd say there was a point in my life where I kind of gave up, so to speak. I had never been the weight that I wanted to be. I don't think I was ever below 150. I didn't like to weigh myself because I kind of always related that reaction I got at the doctor's office. So I always felt like I weighed more than I should. So I didn't like to weigh myself. So since I never weighed the weight that I wanted to, and I never felt 100% comfortable in my body, it was 2015 when I decided to give up, so to speak. I wasn't in a good relationship. It was a fine relationship. I just wasn't happy. And it wasn't a bad relationship. It just wasn't what I wanted. But I kind of felt stuck. So, how that kind of changed the way I ate is I ate out breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. I was going to school. And I was working part-time and commuting to work and school. So I basically lived in my car, and this is no excuse. These are just facts. I basically lived in my car. I'd bring a spare change of clothes from when I got off work to go to school. I didn't have a fridge at work, and obviously there's no fridge at school. So I think that compounded with the fact that I wasn't happy in life in general. I started to eat fast food every day, 3 times a day. And it wasn't like one burger. I would do this thing where I would get like equal amounts of things. So like I'd go to McDonald's for lunch, let's say, and I would get 2 cheeseburgers and 2 McChickens. I don't need to eat that much. But at my heaviest in August 2015, I weighed 205 pounds. That to me is crazy. I am only 5'2". So 205 pounds is a lot for someone who's 5'2". So I was eating fast food every day for probably a year, just kind of living day by day, not really thinking about nutrition. I didn't really know much about nutrition. All I knew is that fast food tasted good, and I grew up not having fast food hardly ever. So to me, it was like something I was kept from. And when I was an adult living on my own, it was cheap, it was convenient, and I just went to the extreme. I kind of have a black and white personality, so I see things one way or another. So I tend to behave the way that I perceive things, which is very this way or that way. So when I started eating fast food, I went very extreme because I was eating no fast food. Well, now I got to eat all the fast food. So I did that for a year and got to my highest weight of 205 pounds. I'm so ashamed to have ever gotten to that weight. What I should have realized, which even saying it out loud at the time I didn't realize, but I was with a significant other. We were actually engaged, and I was very unhappy, and I felt stuck. And he made a remark to me like, oh, we need to stop eating out so much. We're eating out too much. And I remember literally like shouting at him, like, don't take this away from me. This is the only time that I feel happy, which was when I was eating. Because you might feel happy like for that moment, but then feel crappy forever after. So I should have realized at the time what was going on, and that that's a really unhealthy relationship to have with food. You know, food shouldn't be something that is the only thing that makes you happy. I think you could definitely get joy from food, but ultimately it's to nourish you. So I wish I had realized that at the time, but I didn't. So August 2015 is when I weighed my most that I have record of. Again, I wasn't weighing myself, but for some reason in August I did. And I put it in my phone. If I didn't make notes in my phone, I wouldn't remember any of this. But I do remember being very uncomfortable at that weight. It was difficult to sleep. It was difficult to breathe. It was difficult to move. I couldn't stand for more than 30 minutes at a time. My back would get really sore, and I couldn't walk for more than 30 minutes because I would be really tired, and it would just drain me. So not realizing why I felt the way that I did, I went on like that for about 3 more months. And then January 2016 came around. I was working a new job and they had a health screening actually on site for my job. So everybody in my office was going and doing this. I figured, oh, why not? I didn't have good insurance before that job, so I had insurance and I hadn't really been going to the doctor, so I figured, why not? I'll get some blood work done. So I did some blood work and they weighed me and all this stuff. And they had told me that my weight, because my weight, height, and age, I was in the bracket of being obese. So I remember hearing that and being like, what are they talking about? Like, have they changed the requirements to be obese? Like, because when I think of obese, I think of like morbidly obese. I think of like 300 pounds. And even though at the time I was 200 pounds, I had a bit of body dysmorphia where I wasn't quite seeing it, even though there were a lot of indicators that I was obese. I just didn't see it. Maybe I didn't want to see it. I don't know. But so I remember hearing that from this person taking my blood and weight and stuff, and going back to the office and people asking me in the office, oh, how did it go? I remember telling a friend at work at the time, they said I'm obese. And the girl that I was telling that to is a little, or she was at the time, a little heavyset. So she had told me, if you're obese, I don't even want to know what I am. It was unfortunate that I didn't have people in my life that would, show concern or be honest with me that I was obese. And it's a hard thing to do, it's a hard thing to bring up to someone. But I think if you show concern when you're bringing up something and not like trying to be mean, I feel like you can kind of make someone realize something like that. Obviously, everyone has to realize things for themselves, but I was not realizing it for myself at all. And I totally take responsibility for this. I did this to myself. So I'm not blaming anyone, but I just wish I hadn't felt that way for so long. I had plenty of indicators that I was obese. I just wish it had clicked quicker. So anyways, that was January 2016. So at that point, because of that job that I had, I was also able to get a gym membership for free. I had never had a gym membership before, so I went into the gym and they gave you a tour. I went to In Shape. I got a tour of the place, and with the tour, they gave you one free personal training session. So I thought, I'm a cheapskate. Sure, I'll do a free training session. The training session was fine. I didn't care for the personal trainer, his personality, but I was really worried I was going to hurt myself because I didn't exercise and I didn't know how to use the equipment. So I ended up signing up for personal training sessions for a year. Later on, I ended up extending that, but at the time in 2016, I signed up for a year contract with personal training. It was something like $30 or $60 a session. It was pretty expensive for like 30 minutes. I think it was $30 a session. But at the time, just hearing that I was obese, I wanted to do something about it. And because I was still in a very unhappy relationship, I actually wanted a reason to not go home, which I know is a terrible thing to say, but that's how I felt at the time. I was just not happy and I didn't want to go home because there was nothing there for me. So I joined the gym membership. I signed up for personal training, and that is where my weight loss actually started to occur. So my trainer put me on a meal plan, which I use that in a very loose term because they told me to write down the foods that I liked eating. And I remember that was just like a chore to do in and of itself because I didn't eat vegetables. I liked some fruits. I would only eat grains if it was maybe like white rice or something. I just didn't. I'm a very picky eater, so I didn't have a whole lot of things that I liked. Definitely not healthy things that I liked. So I couldn't put fast food, and that was all I was eating at the time. So I had a hard time finding foods that I liked, but it didn't seem to matter because the meal plan that they made me was like 2 cups of brown rice, 2 cups of vegetables, and 6 ounces of meat. It was a lot of food, and even at 200 pounds, I found it really difficult to eat. But that was kind of the meal plan approach that I was given. I stayed on that meal plan pretty well for the first year that I was doing the meal plan, and I was doing training 3 times a week for 30 minutes. I would also work out at the gym 30 minutes before or after my training session. It was more likely before. But I did it. I never missed a session. I did take a vacation 1 week, um, and that was the first time in the year that I had missed a session. But it was planned, and it wasn't because I was, I don't know, not feeling like it. But basically, that whole time I was working out and eating according to the meal plan, I was always tired. I was always sore. I didn't like the way that I felt. I didn't like the food that I was eating. I wasn't enjoying really any part of it. I did like when I lost weight, obviously, but what came with that is people at work actually making comments about my weight, which I really, really hated. Even if it was nice comments like, oh my God, you've lost so much weight, I still didn't like that attention, and I didn't like people's like implied expectations for my weight. I just feel, and this is something personal to me, and I know that everybody doesn't think this way. They think if you say something like, you lost weight, you look good, that's a compliment. To me, I don't think someone's weight should be commented on in that sense of like, this is my opinion about your weight. I think if it's a family member and they're at a dangerous weight, I might encourage them to be eating healthier by saying like, oh, I feel so good when I'm eating this food or that food, or I've heard this works for one person and they feel really great. But I would never say something like, you've lost a lot of weight or you've gained a lot of weight. I feel like if you want to make a comment based on how someone looks, I think there's nicer ways to do it than pointing out it's because of their weight that they look good or bad or whatever. But I know that's me, and I know those people meant well, but it made me feel like I was constantly being watched and my weight was being monitored by more people than just me. And I really hated that pressure, and I really didn't like people wanting to talk to me about my weight because I feel like it's such a personal journey, and I don't like sharing that information with just anybody. So that's how I felt at the time. Obviously, I feel differently now because I am sharing this with you guys, but I realize that everybody's experience can be helpful to someone who is at a different point in their life, and that's kind of why I'm sharing this. So from January 16 to January 17, that was my year contract. I did the training the entire time. I took one vacation during that time. And at the end of that year, I was actually going to the gym 5 days a week. 2 days I was doing completely by myself, and then 3 days with my trainer. Sometimes I would even go on the weekends, at least one day. I remember towards the end of that year, I was not hitting my goal weight, which I was supposed to hit at the end of the year. And I felt like I was doing everything right. I was going to the gym more than just my sessions, and I was eating what I was supposed to be eating. I did have some cheat meals here and there, but they were very few and far between. And I still wasn't reaching my goal. About mid-year 2016, I did end my relationship that I was unhappy in. So I started to want to socialize more, and I just wanted to be comfortable in my skin. So I was really anxious to lose weight and get to my goal weight, which I believe was 150 at the time. And that 150 is completely arbitrary. I was asked to come up with a number, and I had no idea what number I wanted to be. So I just kind of threw out a number of 150. I don't know where it came from, but I was asked by the trainer to come up with a goal so that I could meet it, and that's what it was. So, after about a year of doing the training, I did not meet my goal of 150 pounds for being my current weight, but it was a couple months after that I did reach that goal, but it was like for a brief second, and then my weight changed again. And at that point in time, kind of early 2017, I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I was trying to come up with more time to go to the gym, even though I was already going at least 6 days a week. I had 2 gym memberships so that I could go when I didn't have a lot of time in the evening to a gym right around the corner, rather a place that was down the road where my trainer was, or whatever it was. I was just trying to fit it in. I became a little obsessive about exercising because I felt like that's what was needed to lose weight, because that was the only way that I lost weight. So I was kind of running myself into the ground because I was so exhausted from doing all the exercising, and I was still not feeling the way that I felt because I was sore all the time. I found it hard to do things because I was so sore, and I was just in pain all the time. It was not how I wanted to live, and my trainer was having me lift weights that was heavier than I wanted to. He always tried to encourage me to compete, and that was never something that I wanted to do. So I felt like he was trying to get me in the kind of shape to compete, and that's not something I ever wanted. So in May, I actually started a new relationship. This is May of 2017. I started my first relationship outside of the person I was engaged to. And that person was very physically fit, worked out a lot, and he introduced me to fasting. This kind of helped me lose a little bit of weight, but it also became a very negative thing for how I viewed food. Being so restrictive kind of just reinforced my negative relationship that I had with food, and it would cause binging and then fasting for 3 days, and it just, I wasn't enjoying life. I was either suffering or binging and then feeling bad about myself. So I was also introduced more to looking at nutrition labels in that relationship, which was actually really helpful. And I started just going to the grocery store and turning over all of the food items and just looking through the nutrition. I started getting foods that were low calorie, low fat. I would get some products that were low carb, like the Extreme Wellness tortillas. I started eating those at the time. Basically, any food that was traditionally high, whatever, if it was high fat, high carb, whatever, I would try to look for a version that was low that nutrition. So cheeses, I would look for low fat cheeses because cheese is traditionally high in fat. So tortillas, they are traditionally high carb. I would look for low carb tortillas, and so on and so forth. So that actually really helped me learn about nutrition and what's actually in food. That's kind of where my nutrition learning started, because previously I had no idea how to read a nutrition label. I had no idea what any of it meant. I didn't know what the serving size meant. I didn't know anything about it. So just kind of going and spending time at the grocery store, just like looking at every label, that was, I feel like, the most I learned about food over this entire span. Then in August of 2017, I cut ties with my personal trainer because I didn't feel like he was training me the way that I wanted to be trained. He wasn't listening to my needs. Like, not wanting to put pressure on my lower back because of my spinal condition. So I decided to do self-training in August of 2017. So I was still going to the gym. I was monitoring my weight. I was going to the gym 5 times a week. And at that point, I basically knew what I was doing, and I knew how to look into exercises. But ultimately, exercising just didn't make me feel good. Everybody would always ask me, do you have more energy now that you lost all this weight and you're exercising? And my answer was always no. It was exhausting, and I was probably overdoing it. So I tried to cut back to doing 3 days a week, but then I still wasn't seeing the progress that I wanted. And I was still trying to eat the same way that my trainer had taught me, but then also trying to come up with like low fat, low carb, low calorie foods too, trying to build my own meal plan, and was pretty unsuccessful with that. Some things I was able to have that were tasty, but I ultimately just wasn't reaching my goals. So then it was October 2017. I took a trip to London for my birthday. And I was such a nervous wreck. It was awful. I hated the trip. It was supposed to be 2 weeks long, and I stayed there one night and flew back. So it was a big waste of money, but on the flight home, I ended up getting sick, and that lasted until about January of 2018. When I got sick, it was like this, I had this heavy cough and my lungs hurt when I breathed in. So I don't know what happened to me. I went to the doctor a lot from October to December. And I was given some like cough suppressants, but I wasn't actually told what was wrong. They thought it was my anxiety that was causing it to be difficult to breathe. Even now, I still feel the pain in my chest if like maybe it's very humid and I take a deep breath in. So I don't know what that was, and the doctors didn't know what it was, but basically the entire time that I was going to the doctor, which was about a 4-month span, I wasn't working out at all. Then I did some tests at the doctor's office where I like walked on a treadmill, and they monitored my heart and lungs to see if I was okay to exercise. And they said I was, but every time I did, I felt that pain in my chest, and it was on the side of my heart. So I felt very nervous exercising. So I didn't. I just stopped exercising altogether. And basically, I haven't exercised since. Occasionally, I'll lift some weights because it makes me feel good, but I won't do it consistently because that makes me feel bad. I don't like being sore. So that's my trouble with exercising. So January 2018, when I kind of decided I can't exercise again, because I still feel that pain in my lungs and I wasn't really enjoying it anyways, I started looking into alternative ways of eating, and kind of by chance discovered keto online on YouTube. There were a couple ladies on YouTube that I had just randomly found. I honestly don't even know how it happened. But watching their grocery haul videos and their what I eat in a day videos, I decided to try and eat more that way because I was already eating some of the things like the low carb tortillas, and I just thought, well, maybe this would help me feel good too. Just because I love trying new things, and it was just something that I wanted to try and see if it made me feel better. By April 2018, I started doing ketotarian, which is just eating keto but not having any meat. So I was having a lot of meat substitutes, and I did that for a year. Doing ketotarian, I realized that I wasn't having the hunger that I usually had. I felt like my hunger was much more controllable, and I really liked eating that way. It made me fall in love with keto because I felt like I could control my hunger, and I was still eating good food, and I wasn't gaining weight, and that's what was the most important thing to me at the time, because other things I had done, I was actually gaining weight. So from April 2018 to April 2019, I was eating ketotarian. So I liked eating that way because my hunger was controllable. The only thing I didn't like is that I wasn't losing weight the way that other people were on YouTube, and I didn't understand that. So I decided at that point, I was 149. I decided I wanted to introduce meat into my diet again and see how that made me feel. Because cutting out meat, I didn't do for moral issues or for health or anything. I did it because my significant other didn't eat meat, and I wanted to be able to have meals with him rather than making like 2 separate meals. But I didn't feel good after doing it. It's not that I felt bad, but I just didn't feel any benefits to cutting out meat. And then when I wasn't losing weight the way that other people on YouTube were, I thought maybe it was because I didn't have meat in my diet and there were a few carbs in the meat substitutes. So I decided to introduce meat back into my diet. So from April 19 to July 19, I lost 6 pounds. Not a whole lot of weight, I know, but I was still trying to get the hang of keto, and I still am, but I still had a lot to learn with how to eat the traditional keto diet. So I was trying to incorporate different things and figure things out now that I had meat, and trying to figure out how to eat meat and cook meat. I just had a lot to learn about keto in the traditional sense. But in July 2019, that was the first time I had ever been in the 130s. So I was really excited about that, and I felt like keto with meat is the way that I should be eating, because I could not get below like 140 when I wasn't eating meat. So I took that as a sign that this is the way I should be eating. In December 2019, I hit a new low of 136. I was really excited about that, and almost right after I had hit my new low, I had gone on a vacation. It was only a 3-day vacation, but it was a very eye-opening vacation because I wasn't trying to eat keto, and it was probably the first time I wasn't eating keto since I introduced meat back in my diet. And I became really sick, and I ended up going to the emergency room while out of town. I stayed in the emergency room all day that day. They kept giving me a lot of different medications. I kept throwing it up. I had this awful migraine that just wouldn't go away, and they kept telling me, oh, you should feel better by now, and you know, we can't give you any more of this medication, we can't give you any more of that. And it was just not a good experience. And I know why I was feeling so bad. It was because I was eating sugar. So that, to me, I told my boyfriend, I can't have cheat days. I just can't. It's not worth it. I need to stay keto because I want to lose weight, for one, and two, it's just better for my health. I feel better when I'm doing keto, and that's what I need to do 100% of the time. Some people can do cheat days, and more power to them. Because of my personality, my temperament, I can't. I can't do things in the middle. I have to do things all the way or not at all. So that experience really helped me figure out that I can't be off keto. I have to do it even if I'm on vacation. I need to find keto food. I took that experience as being very positive because I needed that reminder of why I was doing keto and all that I have to gain and lose from doing keto. So that was December of 2019. In February of this year, I reached a new low of 130.8. I never thought I would be able to get to 130. and it feels really good. Lately, I've been feeling like I'm in a little bit of a rut because I've been trying to get below 130. But this has been a very enlightening experience where I can remember where I came from versus where I am now. And a few pounds here and there, as long as I'm generally going down, I've done a good job losing weight. And I'm getting to a point where I'm becoming happier with how I feel. And that's the goal. I'm happy every day with the food I eat. It's more now just for weight loss. I just want to be comfortable in my body. Now food's not making me feel sick. It's not making me feel bad. So that is one thing I have checked off. The only other half is that I just want to be the right weight for me. So I am not 100% comfortable in my body yet. So I feel like I might have another 10 pounds to lose, but I'm kind of taking it day by day. And when I reach that goal weight of how I want to feel, I'll know because I'll feel it. So as of this month, my new low weight has been 128.4. So I am still going down and I'm wanting to see if I can get to 120, but we'll see. Again, I am 5'2". I'm not very tall. So 120 might seem like not a lot, but I'm not that tall. So there's not a whole lot of bone and things to make up that weight. So I feel like I could still lose about 10 pounds. So that's kind of what I'm shooting for as of right now. And that's why I'm doing the keto cut. And that honestly has been helping so much for me to lose weight. I feel like that's why I was able to break out of the 130s. And I've been really pleased with it. It's been something that's actually enjoyable to do. And I love it. I really do. It's nice to have a break on the weekends, but I need to do a different kind of break. So that brings me to what I want for my future. What I'm hoping for my future is to not take weekends off, so to speak. I don't want to have the big meals that you guys have been seeing in my What I Eat in a Days. I want to be on some sort of plan for the weekends too. So what I'm thinking is doing the keto slim down during the week and then Saturday, Sunday doing an egg fast. Because the egg fast, if you saw my last egg fast video, I had chaffles, which were so good, and I was able to eat lots of cheese. I can do that on the weekend. That still would feel like a treat to me because I get cheese and I still get to have sweets, even though on the slim down I'm still doing ice cream. It would just be something nice to mix it up. So I think I'm gonna do that for a couple weeks and see how much I can lose during that time. So my goal right now is for me to reach 120. And I think that's how I'm going to do it, by not doing the taco Sundays like I've been doing, at least not the way that I've done it in the past. I think I'm going to start creating cheese taco shells instead of using the Mission Low Carb tortillas, especially because I know the Mission Low Carb tortillas affect my ketone level. So that's something that I'm going to be very aware of too, is what foods are affecting my ketones and trying to stay in ketosis for as much as possible. Because I think in the past I haven't been in ketosis all that much because I am eating a lot of things that do kick me out of ketosis. So that is kind of my plan for the future. If you've made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you watching this. I hope it was helpful. You know, my journey has been kind of weird and I've taken a lot of different paths that didn't exactly add to my current journey, but you know, we all get to one location in different ways, and this is how I arrived here. So if you're working towards a weight loss journey, just know hiccups and detours are a part of the journey. It all helps you to get where you need to be. My main thing is as long as you're learning from your experiences, then it's not useless. I feel like all of the past ways of eating and exercising and nutrition that I've tried in the past, it all helped me realize what I didn't want to help me be able to identify keto is what I want. Because I feel like it would have been hard to recognize the attributes that keto has that I really, really love if I didn't know how I could feel alternatively. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really appreciate you watching this. It means so much to me that you guys would care enough to watch a very personal video that's catered to me. So I really appreciate you guys watching. If you want to drop me a comment in the comment section, I'd love to talk to you guys. I'd love to hear your experience. Anything you have to say about my experience or keto, anything. I love talking to you guys. I learned so much from you guys, so I really appreciate you guys sharing, and I really hope that me sharing this is helpful too. But that's all I have for you guys in this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.